Do violent movies and music lyrics influence people to commit real-life crimes? It's a question that haunts creators, audiences, and experts alike, and it's one we're diving into today. Crime has fascinated audiences for centuries. From ancient cautionary tales to the modern true crime podcasts we binge today, criminal stories grip us, and the darker they are, the more captivated we seem to be. But is it possible that this intense fascination with crime in our entertainment can actually shape real-life behavior? Whether it's graphic scenes in blockbuster movies, explicit lyrics in popular music, or hyper-realistic violence in video games, there's an ongoing debate on whether this exposure influences criminal tendencies. So, let's examine how and if art and media intersect with real-world crime. Throughout history, people have wrestled with how media influences behavior. In the 1950s, comic books were accused of corrupting youth, while in the 80s it was heavy metal music. Today, films and video games often find themselves in the crosshairs. Each era seems to have its villain. These concerns aren't unfounded. Psychologists have long studied the effects of repeated exposure to violent imagery and explored the question, does what we see and hear shape our actions? Today, that debate is more alive than ever. To start, let's talk about violence and desensitization. Studies suggest that repeated exposure to violent media can reduce our sensitivity to real-world violence. Over time, it may create a sort of emotional detachment. For some people, this might mean a higher tolerance for aggressive behavior, which could, in extreme cases, translate into violent actions. This theory, known as desensitization, is particularly relevant for young audiences whose minds are still developing. Another crucial point is how media normalizes certain behaviors. Crime films and shows often glorify the anti-hero. Think of iconic characters like Tony Montana or even Dexter, who capture our interest and sympathy despite committing brutal acts. For impressionable viewers, this can blur the line between right and wrong. Finally, we have to address the role of identification. Research indicates that some viewers may identify so strongly with a character that they adopt elements of their behavior or style. This is especially true in communities where crime is a reality, and media figures become role models, intentionally or not. Let's look at some real-world examples that fuel this debate. One of the most famous cases is the 1999 Columbine shooting, where the perpetrators reportedly admired the movie Natural Born Killers. This controversial film centers around two young people who commit a series of murders across America, and its influence was noted in the killers' diaries. While there's no direct causation, this connection reignited debates about film and music's impact on youth. Another example is the Grand Theft Auto video game series, which has faced criticism for its portrayal of criminal activities. Though the majority of players understand it's just a game, there have been instances where individuals attempted similar acts in real life. Again, while these are isolated cases, they demonstrate how media can occasionally influence a person's actions. And in music, some gangster rap lyrics have drawn scrutiny for glamorizing criminal lifestyles. Tracks describing life in high-crime neighborhoods can impact listeners, particularly young people in similar environments who may see these figures as relatable or even aspirational. Of course, not everyone agrees that media has such an impact. Research also shows that most people can differentiate between fiction and reality. The majority of us can watch a violent film or play a game without ever considering actual violence. Many psychologists argue that while media may contribute to an aggressive mindset in people already prone to violence, it's not enough on its own to cause criminal behavior. Family environment, personal experiences, and mental health often play much bigger roles. And we can't ignore the fact that crime rates have, in fact, decreased in many countries despite the rise of violent media. So, does media shape criminal minds? It's a complex question with no single answer. While there's evidence that violent media can have some impact on people, especially those with existing vulnerabilities, it's clear that media is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Social context, family background, and individual psychology are all at play here. Ultimately, while it's crucial to be mindful of what we consume, blaming media alone overlooks the broader factors influencing crime. What's clear is that understanding these connections can help us make better choices for ourselves and for society. Do you think media influences real-life crime? Let's discuss in the comments below. And if you're interested in more content on criminology and psychology, check out the other videos in this channel, like this one on unusual motives behind infamous crimes. Thanks for watching.